I've interviewed almost everyone that's been here today, that's spoken today. No one ever said, I want to just advance my business, that's why I'm coming. No one said that. It was all about the women that are going to be here and what God has to say to the women. So, like I said, I'm here today to come see a man, just like the woman at the well. And the woman at the well, she's famous because she was the woman at the well. She's not famous for, having a big name or being able to preach. She did, but she wasn't famous for that. We didn't know her for that. But I often identify with the woman at the well so much because, like I said, she was unnamed and she had so many things going for her. And when we think about I am enough, we have to think about all the battles that we've gone through to be able to say, I am enough. If I was the woman at the well, I would be kind of upset that, I didn't have a name in the Bible. Sometimes, if we were all to get up here, we have our names in print, we have our names in the program, and I flipped out about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at my name right there. It's like, you're in the most biggest, most important book in the Bible. It's like, hey, John, you didn't mention my name. What's up with that? Like, seriously, like you couldn't just do some research to find my name? But like a lot of the women in the Bible, kind of the attitude was, no, I'm not accusing, I love the Bible, so I'm not accusing anyone, but kind of the attitude with women was, woman, who cares? That was kind of the attitude for a lot of the women. She was in Samaria. So woman, non-Jew, definitely double. Who cares? She was a woman at the well. She was known for her location. How many of us are known for our location? Some of the questions, I want to do something for God, but I'm stuck. How many of us are known for being stuck? I'm stuck in a relationship. I'm stuck being a mom. I want to do some stuff. I'm stuck, with my grown kids can't make decisions, so I'm stuck. I have to run their life. How many of us are kind of stuck? Or we put on a name tag as we're stuck. Now, a lot of times, when I was out in the world, and that's a church term, when I was out in the world, we're still in the world, but like when I was out in the world, before, I was known from church as a sinner. It was all right with me because it just covered everything. I didn't have to get really detailed about what I was doing. Sinner, you don't even know about this sinner, I'm a sinner. So I was on guard a lot, like every time I would see church people, I'd be on guard. So instead of, getting to know me, people would run into what I was projecting, where I was at. Like she was in the club. I was the club girl. I was stuck. I was known by my location, or she is one of those girls. So I was known by my location. I had a husband. It wasn't a very good husband, but like the woman at the well, she had 5 husbands, and we know her story, and she was living with someone that wasn't her husband. So a lot of times, I'm happily remarried now, but I think she was looking for something. So how many of us use, let's say, a conference for comfort? We're not going to change, but as long as I'm going to that conference, I've got the comfort of, I'm going to make a decision later. Or some of us use church for comfort. Now, church is great, don't get me wrong, but are you going to church for comfort, or are you going to church to have a relationship with Jesus? How many of us, just like that woman with 5 husbands, looking, settling for someone she's living with, how many of us settle for all kinds of things just for the comfort of it? Well, anyway, since I'm playing the woman at the well, it just, we kind of share the same testimony. I was walking along with my bucket, going to mind my business to get my drink. Now, someone named Shonda Carter, she wouldn't have been going to a well, she'd be going to a bar, going to get a drink. Same thing, so, same thing. And then I met someone along the way. And he said, give me a drink. And just like the woman at the well, I said, why are you talking to me? Do you know who I am? Why are talking to me. Because back then, I was shy. So there was no way he was going to be able to use me. I was shy. And I thought, I don't want to sit in church, and there's nothing I can really do for you, so I doubt you even want to talk to me. And, I mean, I know I look fabulous now, but I thought it was kind of plain. Like, I don't have a spectacular story. I don't have a spectacular testimony. I haven't overcome anything. My life is pretty plain. I don't see how you can use it. And I was insecure. You haven't guessed that yet. I was a little insecure and a little afraid. And you know, I was getting a divorce and I had 4 kids to take care of, so I was worried. I mean, that's a lot. Like, I brought those kids and think that we were going to be together for the rest of our lives. And I didn't know what my future was going to look like. I had it all mapped out. I was 27. I had it all mapped out from where it was supposed to go, and it all fell apart. So I became a little uncertain. And of course, like I said, I was going through a divorce, so I was a little hurt. A little self-conscious. I didn't think I wanted to date again. Who's going to date me? I have 4 kids. I mean, come on. She had 5 husbands. I had 4 kids. That was like the equivalent to untouchable in the dating area. Like, she got 4 kids. Like, there's no way. Okay. And then it's like, all those decisions that I made, like, how could I be so dumb to marry that man? Like, that was just dumb. And then I was away from all my family, so I felt a little out of place. And I wasn't as tough as I thought because my ex-husband made me cry, so I felt a little delicate. I thought I was tougher than that. I used to work in a prison, so I was tough, and he made me cry, so I thought I was delicate. And I thought, I just don't belong anywhere. I don't belong in church. I don't belong anywhere. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I felt disconnected. I felt detached. I felt like a loser. I mean, all the stuff that we say over and over and over and over to ourselves. Of course, I was stressed. That's a given. I was unstable. I was running out of places. Nobody could say anything to me. I was temperamental. I was volatile. I was angry. Back in the day, introvert used to be a bad word. It was an introvert. Like, please get away from me. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to tell you my problems. Like the woman at the well, we don't know. Like, she's misunderstood. Like, why does she have 5 husbands? She could have been widowed. She could have been divorced. I was divorced. She could have been, now she was single, so she was wearing that tag. She didn't tell Jesus, I don't have a husband, I'm single. Sometimes that's a walk of shame to some people. I don't know who, but it could be. The Bible says, if you're divorced, there's a lot of laws and rules in there, so it says you're an adulterer. So she could have been thinking of herself as an adulterer. She definitely was that word fornicator, We all have a little past. I mean, it's good that you don't, but it's good. Some of us do. It's lonely, Sometimes you just get lonely sometimes. You don't have room for that one, but that's not going anywhere. I'm just lonely. Unsound. I felt unloved because, it was a rejection thing of, why didn't you love me? I had 4 of your children, no value, like you tossed me away. Oh my gosh. And I felt ignored because no one cared that I was upset. And I felt less than. And I felt unfit. And it goes on and on and on, but I need you to understand this is what we do to ourselves. So you could be like, all right, get on with it. But I really need you to see these labels, these titles that we put on ourselves. Because Dr. Melody and all the other speakers can come up here, and just tell us, and we go, that's really nice. She's got a great personality. She doesn't know what I'm going through. She's perky. Now, I've talked to Dr. Melody on my show before, and I told her that, I'm like, you just seem like you're just one of those people that has it all together. And I mean, she stomped me like, that is a lie from the devil. And I'm like, whoa, I'm just making conversation. We all go through things. But this is what our fellow sisters look like. And we don't even see it, it's just invisible. This is what they're telling themselves all the time because of circumstances, because of their location, because of where they are. I'm no good. That's a good one. But Good one. No good is a good one. That didn't even make sense what I just said. Okay, I'm running out of room here. So I'm wrong. I'm not worthy. I'm wrong. I'm not deserving of Jesus' love. I'm wretched. I've dishonored my family because I'm going out on dates and doing things with men and cheap, useless, pitiful. Some of us think it's just being humble. Like, I don't want to get too out of control. Some of the times we just think, well, I'm just being humble and keeping it real and telling it like it is, and I don't want to get too big, and I can't do that, Lord, because I'm pitiful. I can't do that yet, Lord, because I'm sad and I'm miserable right now. Some of us can get offended when people try to cheer us up. You don't know what I've been through. Dr. Melody, leave me alone. I don't want to hear your happiness this morning. I had coffee, you know? I'm shameful, damaged. And it just goes on and on and on. And I know you can see because I run out of room. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. It's a snowball effect, you know? We go through that and we start out just, oh, that's just not me. Oh, I can't do that because of this. I can't do that because of that. I can't do that because of my past. I can't do that because I'm stuck, God. You can't use me. And just like the woman at the well, when Jesus called her out on some of her stuff, he said, go get your husband. And she was honest. That's a good thing. She was really honest. And she says, I don't have a husband. And he says, you're right. And she kept talking, and they kept talking. I mean, this is a pretty good, long conversation. I don't know why she didn't have a name. This is a long conversation going on. But once he called her out on some things, she got a little defensive, you know, with Jesus. But she knows Jesus. But how many times do we get defensive with Jesus? I hope this thing in my eyebrows will take off. Okay. How many times do we get defensive with Jesus? She says, well, you're a prophet. That means I'll do it later. You know, like, I see that you're a prophet. Leave me alone. You know, I got the message. Like, how many times did I talk to people from church and go, oh, yeah, you go to church. Good for you. That's great. I'll go when I get my life together. I'll go when I get my life together. You know, you don't want me right now, you know. So, but I respect you. I respect your decision. That's fine. Then she did the thing like, you know, like what some of us do. She says, well, you Jews say that we can't, where our fathers worship on this mountain, and you Jews claim that the place to worship is Jerusalem. Now, if you've been doing, you know, talking to people for any amount of time, like we have a lot of life coaches and things like that, you can recognize some defense mechanisms. You can learn when people are pushing you away. She used separating language. Our fathers, you Jews, you people, you Christians. You Christians don't understand what I'm going through. You're doing corporate worship. Jesus was talking about personal worship. She was distancing herself, going, oh, it can only be done in Jerusalem. And Jesus was there to talk about what can be done in your soul, something personal. I'm sorry, when I just start thinking about this woman, she's really affected my life. And like she says, well, I know the Messiah is coming once again, you know. Well, I know he's coming, and I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until I'm ready. I'm going to wait because I don't think that he can do anything with me right now. So how stuck up is it that you think that Jesus can't do anything with you right now, but you can change and expect Jesus? Like, that's just backwards right there. I used to say that all the time. Like, I'll change when I get ready, you know, da-da-da-da-da. But it's like, how many times has Jesus, you know, tried to come into my life like, oh, you don't want to deal with me. You don't want to deal with me. When she said, I know the Messiah is coming, it's just like the rest of us. Jesus is already here. He says, I am the one that you speak of. So we don't need to be waiting for this magical day. It's like they were saying, just say yes now. Don't wait for this magical day to happen, for this magical feeling, because as soon as the magical feeling hits, the next day the enemy's going to come and you're going to be stuck with, well, it felt so good when I said yes, and it doesn't feel good right now, so maybe I should just change my mind. Just say yes. Jesus is already here. And it's through Jesus that he's saying, I am enough. It's saying, I am enough in Christ. He has already said that you are enough. Now, Jesus can say that you are enough, and you can say, well, okay, I think I'm going to believe that. But where is I am enough going to fit with all of this? Would anybody be able to see that you're enough with all of this if you project yourself out in the world, and this is all that you identify with, and only Sunday or at a conference that you say you are enough because you haven't done the mindset work that needs to be done? The mindset work that needs to be done, to say, hey, well maybe, because of Jesus, I am good. Maybe we can just start thinking about that. Even if it's, you take off one, like now you can at least see the center of my face. Like it's a start. It's a start. I just learned about changing your perspective. Now I showed up at a workshop, like Deborah was saying that nothing happens for, everything happens for a reason. And we talked about changing the perspective. Perspective is that even though the woman wasn't named, you can think about it from a totally different perspective. It's good that she wasn't named. It was good. It just showed that she was still important, even though she was not Joyce Meyer. Now, I know I'm stuck on Joyce Meyer, but I just know that everybody knows who Joyce Meyer is. So you showed up, like, we feel so awesome. We're not Joyce Meyer. Like, if Joyce Meyer was here, you would have showed up for Joyce Meyer. We'd have been like, Joyce Meyer, let us hold her Bible for us. It would have been like that, But we're here because of Jesus. We have no doubt that you showed up to see the man that we want to talk about. You didn't show up for a personality. You didn't show up for fantastic door prizes. You showed up and you showed out because you showed that we all have a connection because we all want to meet and see and know the man. That's what's going to change. That's what's changed me about this conference. People showed up to see the man. John was, and the thing about it, John was the only gospel writer. That long conversation that the woman at the well had, John was the only one that thought it was important enough, even though he didn't put her name in there, and she's just the woman at the well. But it shows that when others say you're not important, Jesus will still come looking for you. He will come to you. And I know a lot of times we say, come to Jesus. He comes to you. He comes to you in the middle of the night and says, put the post on Facebook. And I was sitting there trying not to cry because I knew I had to come on here, but it's like, what would have happened if Wendy didn't? How many conferences and how many fantastic, wonderful people did I miss out on because I said, Lord, no one's going to come. No, I'm not going to do that. That's stupid. You say that. Like, you don't mean to say it, but it's like, that's dumb. I'm not going to do that. No one's going to show up. I live in Lawton, Oklahoma. No one's ever heard of that. And I got here and I'm like, I've never heard of Bedford, Oklahoma. Bedford, Pennsylvania, but I came and, other women came from Chicago, from, you said Chicago, Milwaukee. She said Chicago earlier, so it's stuck in my head. California and Atlanta, like big city living, I'm telling you. But only Jesus can start taking these off. Like maybe you could take off one through your lifetime. How exhausting is that? To work on something without God and only remove one thing, and you go, I've been in therapy for like 15 years and I removed one tag. That's exhausting. When all you have to do is have that encounter at the well and be open to what he says. One encounter can change a whole city. One woman changed an entire city, Wendy. One woman changed an entire city. One woman has a conference that's going to go around the world that has changed how many speakers' lives that thought, nothing is happening. Am I called to do this? Nothing's happening. I'm not hearing anything. People told me no. I have a video. This is not about me, but I have a video. It's a parody of Lionel Richie, Hello, is it me you're looking for? And I was talking to God about it, like, hey, are you sure? Because like that question about nothing's happening, that so resonated with me, like, you're doing a lot of stuff in Lisa Bevere's life. You need to bring a little of that over here. Like, I'm not even charging and I know she's like, come on, God, like, I am not to and fro. I am right here and you know it, because I've been in this spot for 20 years in Lawton, Oklahoma. I know you know where I'm at. Like, come on. Like, they're going on, she's with Christine Kane. Like, they could call me. Like, of course, you get a little silly sometimes, you know? You just, you have to, you get a little defensive. Like, God, you called me. Like, what are you doing up there? Do you know what you're doing? Because, yes, I was in an office, and yes, I was complaining about my life, but if I'd have known I'd been sitting for 5 years waiting on you, I'd have stayed in that office, Lord, I'm telling you. And then I hear about Wendy, and she got something in 2 years, and I've been sitting there for 5, like, come on. Like, we all have our different story, but you can get a little defensive, and you gave Melody my message, and I'm just sitting back there like, shut up. I have to tell myself, he didn't say shut up. I have to tell myself to shut up. He didn't tell me to shut up. And you have to keep your eye on what you came here for. Come see the man. It's not about me. When I said you gave Melody my message, he said, how ridiculous does that sound? I gave her your message. It's about the Bible. Are you serious right now? I'm like, no, I'm not. So I'm going to be quiet right now because, I can get that way. But what I'm trying to say is, this woman testified beyond testified. She changed an entire city. She might not be an author, and she might not be a speaker, because sometimes you look and say, well, you have to have a book to get up on the stage, or you have to have this great personality to get up on stage. Sometimes you just minister with your life. A book does not make you more important. Trust me, I have too. I've hit New York bestseller. Like, the things that I think makes you important, but I know that I wrote them because God told me to write them. And if it's only one person that read my book and said it's great, you have to be able, like she was saying, the one. You have to be okay with that. Jesus waited on one woman, and it changed an entire city. So while we were looking at the numbers on the Zoom call and going, well, how many? Oh, we're up to 10. Great. Like, Lord, please. Now, you're not supposed to do this, but please. Really seriously, when we're, in our prayer time, and it wasn't to get the big numbers to make us look like someone. It was just, we know you called us to do this, so we would like to have someone to actually speak to. That'd be great. A lot of women are traveling in. I just keep it real. I just do. I do. We wanted it to be to impart what the Lord has given us to impart. So we did want an audience. We're not even going to pretend to be super spiritual and say, if no one showed up, and I could do it one, but if no one showed up, I was going to be upset. Okay, anyway. What I'm trying to say is, if you don't have a book, if you don't have a stage right now, just teach with your life. Teach with your children. Impart in your children what you need to impart. We forget about husbands. Be the best wife you can be. I am remarried happy, like, that other one, that was one of the 5, but it was only one. Okay. And he's fabulous. If you teach with your life, if you do what you're supposed to do, if you are obedient, no matter how big or how small or how it looks, if you teach with your life, if you speak with your life, if you write a book with your life, you see transformation. You might not see it immediately, but there's something that's going to transform someone. That woman transformed an entire city. She was no longer known as the foolish female. She was known as a wise woman after that, because the entire city said, well, we want to go meet him. Like, that had to be awful convincing for her. And people knowing her life and seeing what she had been through, so they're like, well, if he can change her, he can really do something for me. Like, how many people do you know like that? And you go, whoa, he can do that. He can do anything. He is a miracle worker. And the most important thing that I would like to say today, if you get nothing else, just believe him. Just believe him when he says, you are enough. Thank you.